You're still watching the AM show, and it's time now for us to bring you AM Business. And with the establishment of the Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment, many youth groups are optimistic about the development of youth policies and initiatives. With the startup bill yet to be passed by Parliament and the yet to be established Youth Federation, Joy Business caught up with Sherif Ghali, that is the Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, to discuss the expectations here. We'll tell you more in this report.
As promised, President John Dramani Mahama has set up the Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment. With a focus on agribusiness, he's mandated the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry to pay critical attention to this sector. Here with me today is Sherif Ghali, the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, and we'll be discussing what this holds for the youth, the opportunities available in this space, and how they can capitalize. Also, we'll be gauging his views on what he makes of the president's move and his appointments so far. Welcome, Sherif.
Thank you very much, Isai. Happy New Year.
Many happy returns. And let's go straight. The setting up of the Ministry of Youth Development and Empower with George Opare-Addo as head of the ministry. I mean, for people like you in this sector, you've been calling for something like this for a while. What do you make of this?
So for me, I think that it's a good start for us as youth of Ghana, having to see President John Mahama and the NDC government made that promise. I remember when they were putting together the Youth Manifesto, we were all called to give in our one or two knowledge. And one of the things I actually talked about was decoupling the youth ministry from sports. And for me, I particularly happy to see that His Excellency did exactly that and had given George Opare-Addo the chance to lead it. So it's a start. It's a good thing that now we have a ministry focusing on youth development and empowerment. But I think we have a lot to still do. And I will say that kudos to the government for fulfilling one of their key things in the manifesto.
A step in the right direction, you say, but there's been a number of challenges in this sector. I mean, I know about the startup bill, which has been on the desk for a while now. I mean, what do you make of this, and what are your expectations going into 2025?
You see, Ghana, as we all know, it's not a hidden thing. Close to about 52% of our population are youth, right? That means the huge number of us Ghanaians are young people. So whatever we are doing, we need to put in policies and programs that will promote and empower these young people to either take up leadership or to either take up entrepreneurship. And a huge number of our youth are unemployed, right? So like I said, it's a step into the right direction. But now what George Opare-Addo, or Minister, Honorable George Opare-Addo, should do is that he has to, first of all, go back to look at their manifesto and all that they promised. They talked about youth entrepreneurship, innovation, skills, digital skills training. They talked about health, the mental health of youth, a lot of things, promising things. So I would want that as they have started manifesting whatever they wrote in their manifesto, they should go back to that manifesto. However, there are key things that also need to be focused on. I said in one of a publication that Ghana needs the Youth Federation. You see, we run a system where we tell the young people you are the leaders, but we are not empowered to lead. Nobody's giving us that way to really lead. Why am I saying this? In 2016, before the NDC left, they made the then National Youth Council to become National Youth Authority with the NYA Act 2016. And inside the Act, it is mentioned by law that they should set up what is called the Youth Federation, which is supposed to be the amalgamation of all registered groups across Ghana. What that seeks to do is that it is going to give an independent voice for youth to be able to support our economic development. It's not supposed to be political.
Do you think that the efforts available now is not enough to empower the youth? I mean, a number of youth agencies currently running. I mean, a number of initiatives, both government and private sector. Do you think this is not enough to empower the youth economically and also leadership-wise?
So the problem in Ghana is that we have, like they say, a lot of meat doesn't spoil the soup. But for us, a lot of meat is spoiling our soup. because you have a lot of meat that you don't even get the soup to eat again. So yes, we have several agencies. We are talking about National Youth Authority, Youth Employment, NEIP, GEA, Maslock has a component of youth. Every other ministry, it's not only them, every other ministry have something on youth, even Ministry of Trade and Agriculture, now Agribiz, right? The point is that even having all of this, there is not that point where they all synchronize or they all coordinate their effort. That is why over the years we have been working on the National Youth Policy. And I want to tell you from today that that National Youth Policy is on the shelves. What the National Youth Policy seeks to do is that we identify the problems of the youth. And now we identify everybody that play a key role in the youth development and assign a certain responsibility to you. At the end of the day, the National Youth Authority mandate is to ensure that if there is anything under Ministry of Trade to do for youth, you are doing it. If there's anything under Ghana Enterprise Agency to do for youth, you are doing it. But the problem is that there is no way to coordinate. There is no way to report. So everybody is doing what they can do in silos. And the problem is, Ghanaian youth are so moved by numbers. So at the end of the day, they come and tell you that, oh, we have done 1 million jobs and we are happy. That something that you cannot see. No, the 1 million jobs they mentioned, there's still 1.2 billion youth working on the road. Nobody has any job. So when you ask them where is the 1 million jobs, they can't say we have created the jobs, but there's no job because they know the youth want to listen to numbers. So the coordination is our problem. If not, Ghana would be one of the best countries that we can empower our youth because of all the structures we have, all the systems we have, but they are not coordinated.
And you believe the Youth Federation will address this situation?
Oh yes, if the Youth Federation is set up, this is an independent body and they understand what they are doing and the leadership are not partisan. They understand technically what should be done for the youth. They would have the authority, the National Youth Authority, to ensure that ministries, agencies, department, if you are responsible of or you are given the responsibility of doing something for the youth, you ensure that you do it at the end of the day. That is one of the key works of the Federation. And aside that, the Federation will be able to mobilize the youth. Remember, mobilization is our problem. How do you mobilize the young people to take up the opportunities? You need a federation, an independent body that the youth would align with. This is our body. This is for us.
Now, let's jump to the starter bill. Now, assuming, if a federation is set up, from all what you say, this would help speed up in the passage of, certain important legislative pieces like the starter bill. Now, with a new minister in place focused on the youth or youth development for that matter, when are you likely to go see him to ensure that there are timelines to the passage of the starter bill?
So for George, my understanding with the new minister, George Oppore-Addo, popularly known as Pablo, is that he has a listening ear. And what he said in his interview, actually I was there at the Parliament House to just give a support. What he said is that he doesn't really care. He doesn't care where you are coming from. As far as you have a proposal that can create jobs for the youth, he, George Oppore-Addo, Minister of Youth Development and Empowerment, is ready to work with you. So I know such a person, if he really meant what he said, will be more open to discussions. And we are looking to engage him anytime soon as a committee that have been working on the Ghana Innovation and Startup Bill. As a minister, this bill should be one thing that George Oppore-Addo should see as a legacy for him. We couldn't get it passed in the previous government. If he gets it passed, it is going to be a big legacy for his ministry. And one of the key ways that he can turn around the startup and entrepreneurship ecosystem within the youth. There are a lot of funding in that area. The development partners are watching. You have been with us. Last year, you saw World Bank coming in to support the effort of the bill, the International Trade Center, and so many. Ghana just needs to position ourselves and pass this bill to an act so we can attract more funding to support our youth entrepreneurs and startups. You see, sometimes policy, as they say, if you have a very strong policy or a law, it opens up a lot of ways. Last year, the African Union also launched the African Union Startup Framework and Startup Bill. And they are asking all the 54 African states members to adopt it. So nobody would have to come and convince you that this is an important thing. And some of these things, Ghana would have been the first to take the lead, just that where we are not. Now Nigeria has about 12 to 13 countries in Ghana have passed their startup bill. In 2013, when Nigeria passed their own, they were able to get a $200 million funding into a fund that will support startups. Ghana can do the same thing. So for me, we'll be engaging George Oparado very soon. It's not only George, we'll also be engaging Sam George himself. He is also Minister of Communication and Innovation, because these are the two key ministries, so that we can quickly put heads together. The committee will let them know the work we have done so far, where we are now, and if possible, if there can be timelines for us to get it passed, we'll definitely get back to people like you and communicate whatever discussion we have with the new minister. But we are hoping and believe that having to engage them unofficially, there are people that would support this bill to be passed, because if the bill is passed, it definitely is going to be a legacy for them going forward, and it will help especially George Oparado to be able to create that needed jobs for the youth.
What should be his first line of action? What should he tackle first?
First, he should do a holistic, non-political stakeholder engagement. Call all the youth leaders together, identify them, bring them together, have a discussion with them. You see, his ministry is quite new, and he will need innovative people to help him come up with ideas and programs to help the youth. I know already they have some beautiful things in their manifesto, but that alone is not going to stand. We need more innovative ideas. For example, on youth entrepreneurship, innovation, and startup. Because if you really, really want to create jobs for the now Ghanaian youth, you need to be thinking entrepreneurial. How do we do this? By virtue of the fact that some of us have run the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs and other ecosystem actors, we are available to support. So first thing he needs to do as a minister is to conduct a holistic, non-partisan stakeholder engagement of all youth leaders, even bringing in MPP youth leaders who have experience. Then the second thing is he has to do, like I said, for me, is to start the formation of the Youth Federation. Right. The Youth Federation will help his ministry a lot than any other. Imagine the minister has youth leaders who are independent and non-partisan and able to give him objective views. It is going to help him a lot. And then the last one for me he has to do is to focus on youth entrepreneurship, innovation, and startup. If you really want to help His Excellency John Dramani Mahama create the 1 million jobs, and the opportunities in that sector they are enormous.
With the trade ministry now, being reorganized to have a focus on agribusiness, what do you make of this, and how can this impact, agric entrepreneurs or young agric businesses for that matter?
So that was also another thing that I was happy about, to see that this current government introduced agribusiness into trade. That is unconventional, but I love it, because promoting trade, they added agribusiness. Somebody will say that why is it not going to the Ministry of Agri? But I love the dynamics. At least it has given the opportunity to the Ministry of Trade to promote agriculture. But now connecting it to the youth, her focus will be to design programs that can provide access to funding to youth who want to go into agriculture. And at least, how can we have access to lands? Even with the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, that it is just us. We started something with funding from SMV, the Netherlands NGO, which was Brafie, means come back home and farm. So what we did was we went to chiefs that we know have command over a lot of lands, farmlands. We wrote to them as just as Ghana Chamber, and then one chief gave us 1,000 acres of land in Ashanti region, another did in Bono, and then northern region we have over 500 acres of land. They donated it to the chamber. The government also have lands. Even if government doesn't have land, government can lobby with kings and queens to get farmlands for our youth to farm. If we can get them those and get them the funding, the Ghanaian youth are going to employ technology to give us the best out of farm.
Now, Sheriff, I know there's a lot whenever it comes to the development of the sector, but your final words, I mean, a new government in place, new ministers, new vision. What are your expectations?
So our expectation is that new government, new ministries, there's opportunity. The opportunity lies for us to do a lot, especially the youth, especially the innovation and all of those things. There are a lot for us to do. But let us not make it the winner takes all thing. When we do that, technocrats who can add up, who have rich experience in some of the areas, we are not willing to come out and share because we are even afraid to share what we know and what we can do. Though for me, I don't promote that. We need to share. But there are so many opportunities Ghana can tap on. If they come in and they are open for us to work together, they want to listen, I think that we are available to support them, and we are available to work together to be able to change the fortune of our country by ensuring that our youth are empowered. You can't have a Ministry of Youth Development Empowerment and we don't have any empowered youth. So for Jojo Parado and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, it's not just a promise. They should see this to be a big thing. And I'm happy listening to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Every time he talks about youth, he talks about job. This is where we need to really do the thinking. I have seen few appointments, some a bit not too okay, a bit disappointing, but others very good so far. I can say that 80%, if you give all out of 10, I can say 9. But let's see if those even people who I think that they are not supposed to be there are open, we would support them with the ideas for us to be able to help run Ghana. So yes, we are giving them. We'll start talking very soon, but we are just watching. Yes.
And that is the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs. He says he won't be doing much talking for now, but he will be quietly observing. And when the time comes, he will go to the ministries himself and make sure things are done. Thank you for watching.